back up. Apologize about that. Everything tonight is just deciding that it does not want to work, but again, for everything it gives us, we'll make it work. And right now we are 3 wide for about 5 rows back, it looks like. This is for the lead. Again, on that inside, it's Kenneth McCullough Jr. It's already been pretty quick tonight. That 06 right to his outside. 06 is David Sheets. He's been up there tonight already. You've seen him run that second line. Right behind him is the 05, Matthew Baker. Says Brandon Holder in the 5 truck. That might be. There's 2 5s, but one of them is the 05. Then Brandon Holder's the other 5, and then Matthew G. Baker's the 05 truck. Again, thank you for tuning into the Bluegrass iRacing series. Again, a little bit different look tonight. That is beyond our control. So, but we still have a good night. Again, we have a big prize tonight for the winner of this race. $500 going to the winner. Packed house, 60 trucks in this race tonight. Right now, leading it all is David Sheets in that 06 truck. And out to the outside up there, it is the 46 truck. To make it work, the 60 truck right behind them. Starting to dice down a little bit for the lead. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be able to go smooth free for the rest of this race. Unfortunately, might have to bring up the iRacing UI a little bit just to see who some of the drivers are tonight. Maybe that's Joe Zalo in the 60 truck, 3rd car on the inside line. We're going to make it work with what we have. 34 of Michael Triscaro on that outside line, pushing the 46. Quite figure out who that 46 truck is. We might have to. Well, that is Mike or Matthew Selby, that is, who's made his way up to that 3rd line, looking very quick up there. As you see a big push on that outside lane, and that's how it's going to work here with these trucks. You're going to be able to see once they get 3 wide, that outside line is going to really be able to push. You're going to have a lot of momentum up there. But again, it's only lap 13 out of 100. A lot of time left in this race. Top, you see again the 46 Matthew, still able to run that line pretty good right now, keeping it in front of that 34 truck. And Matthew Selby, pretty good here to start, made his way up after qualifying a little bit further back. And man, big pushes from Michael Triscaro, and right behind him is Jonathan Cofield, one of our sponsors here in the Bluegrass iRacing series. Again, thank you all for tuning into the Bluegrass Freedom 100 laps at Talladega. Brian Terry up there we see. It's a 92 of John Ward, the 3rd car in the middle line. We'll make that work right now. The 89 of Trevor. I'm going to butcher this name. As Wernoff right now. 4th car on that inside line. Behind him is the 6 truck. Emily Fitzsimmons, one of our regulars in the Xfinity series. Good night. And we just have to figure out which is the 5. Brandon Holder's the 5, and Matthew G. Baker's the 05, and both of them are running the 5 scheme right now, but we'll figure it out. At 15 out of 100. One way that we can settle this is that one is dry. Oh, they are really close to wrecking. A little bit further on back, but it looks like they're going to settle it out. Tonight, also, these drivers are running 65% fuel. So they will have to pit a little bit, a little bit here, probably sooner than later. I would say probably make about 25-ish laps. I'd be guessing somewhere around there, 25, 30-ish laps. Probably pushing 30, 35. As you see now, a little bit more single file back beyond the top 10 is just a big moment off of turn 4, the last lap by. And thank you all for tuning into the Bluegrass iRacing series. Freedom 100. A lot of drivers tonight, and we cannot thank all the drivers for taking the time to come out here tonight and put on a show here at Talladega Motor Speedway. Beautiful track this is. You may get 4 or 5 wide even if you're really risky, but mainly we'll see 3 wide action just like we're seeing right now here for the lead. And still 2 by 2 by 2 for about the first 6 rows before we start to see a little bit of single file action. Have another few trucks starting to create another outside line. Few cars all the way up. We got one car in the grass. That's the 89. Was the 89 and Trevor Warnoff? Looks like he's going to be able to keep it going straight, though. Again, a few big opportunities to cause a big one. Not gonna do it just yet. Looks like we're gonna keep it fine for right now. And just very, very quickly, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsors. Just to give me some time to do something really quickly. So we'll be right back. Alright, we are back here at Talladega. A few new lead changes, but nothing too much. But I do think a few drivers will be coming in this time. As we heard a few drivers say they were coming in. As you see, a big group of drivers coming in. And they're going to leave open a few spots. And Jonathan Adkins right now is going to take the lead in that 17 truck. And to his outside is the 23. Figure out who that is. This is the 23 of John Darnell III. The outside right now of Jonathan Adkins. see if this time by, if this large group looks like that 23 might be checking up a little bit, or more of he just doesn't have any help, but we'll see if these guys take the hard left turn in, and it looks like they will. And the 23 is going to be all alone, but we're going to watch these groups come in right here in pit. You see 4 wide on pit road almost. They're the haulers that they all come in. They all loaded their stuff up and came right to Talladega. The Bluegrass iRacing Freedom 100. We're going to watch these guys go in and out of their pit stalls here and see where they come out compared to the other guys. And pitted a lap ahead. More than likely, we'll be seeing these guys take maybe 2 tires and full fuel. You see, these trucks, they have to stay on the apron all the way around, and there's a blue cone that marks where they can come back up on the track. You're going to see that big group of trucks right behind them. There, the guys, and there's the blue cone right there. That's where these guys can now come up on track, but you want to come up in front of all these guys who are 3 wide ahead of them, and that's never an ideal situation. You can see they're all merging in with one another. See right ahead of them as the 04. Ahead of all these guys. 04, Christopher McCullough. Kenneth McCullough qualified on pole, and that's the 03 truck right there. So Kenneth and Christopher McCullough both in this race. And they're both up front, that is. No cautions so far. Knock on wood. So it looks like these guys can make it around 22 laps on fuel. That's where we're going to look, and that's what it looks like the estimate's going to be at. And you see right here, this is never a good situation. 4 wide at Talladega. But the track is wide enough and you can do it. The track goes all the way down to the bottom. Keep it green. Hello there, Steve. Hope you're having a good night, buddy. I would say I would love some Steve McMillan up in the booth tonight for the Freedom 100. Maybe if y'all can convince him enough, he'll hop right in here. You see, oh, we are everywhere right now on the track. A lot of checkup. You can see 3 wide again. All throughout the field so far tonight. And this could be one of those moments where we can move back up to the leader. So I'm going to quickly do this just so we can get quickly back up to the leader. And this is what you normally see on iRacing. Cody Neagles right now out front. And then we'll go right back. I believe that's Cody Neagles. He's the 14 truck, but driving the 6, I believe. I believe that's Austin Green in the 7. Got Fritz up there right now as well. Got 48 machine on the outside, and Scott Fritz getting a lot of help from that 46 truck right behind them. 06 is going a lap down. That is David Sheets, who started second. It's had like a speeding penalty of some sort. Side by side for the lead. Definitely a lot of single file going on behind them. See, another truck making an entrance up there is at 52, it looks like. I believe it's 52 of Bentley McFarland. Made his way up to the front. '46 truck on the outside, the bright red 46 truck that is. is the 26 of Matthew Selby, who's been quick. Made his way up to the front pretty quickly. Still being led by Cody Neagles out front. Lap car coming up here on the outside, but a little bit 3 wide behind it, but not too much. See, they're going to have to squeeze in with one another. Cody Neagles still out front tonight. Scott Fritz second, Austin Green third, Matthew Selby fourth, Michael Triscaro's fifth. He's the sixth. Don Ward seventh. Kenneth McCullough eighth. You can see the field's starting to tighten up a little bit. The outside of, I believe that is the 04 of Matthew T. Lee. We have a lot of 04s, but I know Christopher McCullough. Oh, we got a wreck, and I don't know which car or truck that is. One truck hardened the outside wall, maybe with a little bit of right front suspension damage. That is going to bring the caution out. We'll go take a look and see maybe if we can find out what happened there. You saw it live there, folks. David Sheets kind of gets the victim of that checkup and really know where to go. Everyone's checked up, and it looked like maybe Jonathan Cofield got into the back of David Sheets, sent him up into the wall, and broke that toe link right away. And everyone's going to come in. Cody Neagles is going to lead us into pit road. Expect everyone to just fill up here, fill up what's left of their gas tank. A few drivers are going to stay out, maybe to get their laps back. A few of those drivers who maybe messed up on pit strategy or maybe had messed up on something definitely could have just came in and taken some fuel and some tires. And I believe that we have a friend up in the booth right now. Steve McMillan, you got a copy? Doing good, Steve. How are you doing tonight? Oh, and that's what we're doing tonight then. Well, Steve, I'm hoping that you have some positive news about streaming, as it seems like we are not given the correct stuff tonight. Looks a little off than usual. Yeah, we're still here at Talladega. It's have 60 trucks here tonight. Can't complain about that, and that's really all we really need. The main things that we need. So we at least got that. But nevertheless, been a good race so far. Seen a lot of 3 wide action. Already a pretty big checkup there, which caused a wreck. And we've seen that a lot tonight. A lot of people, just kind of checking up, trying to get into line, and it's cost a lot of positions tonight. And that is our first caution brought out so far tonight for a incident. And that'd be on lap 27. So right now we're on lap 30. Looks like we'll probably get to 1 to go and get going back green by lap 32. What is that favor? Of course I could. That is, of course, correct. 60 drivers tonight, so a lot, and should be up there for you, Steve. But a lot of, a lot of series regulars that we see every week in our Xfinity trucks and Cup series. We also have a lot of drivers that have, I don't know if ever put in a single lap with us before here in the Bluegrass iRacing series. And we have a few that have maybe completed, earlier on and are not competing now. So, definitely a lot of different driver types coming in here. We have veterans, we have people who've never raced with us, but who've raced in iRacing a long time. But nevertheless, it always puts on a good show, especially here at Talladega. And I can tell you from a driver that 40 trucks is usually pretty overwhelming. So when you add another 20 and go 60 trucks, it's definitely very overwhelming for these guys. But the big prize tonight, $500 from the Bluegrass iRacing series. A big purse tonight, and I believe that other drivers, in the top 3 or so will also be getting a prize. That's down to our, because since we filled up on entries, I believe there's another purse. I'm not 100% sure though. Jason Collins can let me know that, but nevertheless, yeah, nevertheless, a big purse tonight, and yeah, a lot of drivers. It makes the broadcast very funky, and then our main overlay styles also just not up tonight. So we have to do the best we can here in the booth, but I believe we're doing the best we can. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure that out. I believe so. Or yeah, it's Cody Neagles right now, our control car. He is showed in the 6, but is the number 14 in the sim. So Cody right now has been up front for a little bit. We've seen him out front. And to his outside, this is the 89 truck of Trevor Arnsnoth, as you had said. And the green flag is back out here at Talladega. Good start for the front two. Two behind them do not get a great start. Falling off a little bit, but heading into turn 1, they're going to be able to get right back up to the leaders. As again, the draft very strong here at Talladega, especially in these trucks. It really just pulls the car behind you straight up to your back, and that's Thomas Hall in the 93 on that bottom line, who will get to Cody Neagles. Yeah, that is Scott Fritz in the 48 truck. Yeah, and this is where you see the big ones happen. Usually, once you kind of get back into line, drivers know that they get a ton of position now compared to, checking up and having just to stay single file that first run. Now these drivers really see the prize. And I believe that was the 04. You'll have to let me know if that's Christopher McCullough or Matthew T. Lee there. But 04 now up in front ahead of the pack. Ryan M. Johnson right now on that outside in the 3 truck is our leader. Yeah, what we'll see happen here is that usually either on entry or exit, someone just kind of will underestimate how close the trucks will get, and they may tag one another. Now, the good thing about Talladega compared to Daytona is that Talladega is much wider. You have a lot more space. So usually, you don't see it as much as Daytona where, you accidentally kind of just go down and clip someone. But nevertheless, it's still pretty tight to fit 3 cars here in 4 lanes at Talladega. And so, one mishap by one person, whether it's, just kind of sliding up the track or, just trying to make a move too late, it can easily cause the big one here. And, we are through. We got a caution out on the track as we see one car in the wall right there. Looked like it happened a little further back on in the pack. Out of my rendering distance, I'd have to say that is. Uh, we had just caught on and we saw one truck get tagged and go around. But nevertheless, really quickly, we will go back and we'll see if we can figure out what happened.
You actually get to see Mikey do it like kind of backwards on screen. Oh wait, no. Oh, you got the caution thing out, so they can't see it at all. Here, I'm trying to relieve secrets.
That was Sammy Davis right there, that 54 truck that was kind of flying over. Yeah, no, nevertheless, it was definitely interesting. We saw cars get kind of stacked up, and I believe that is what caused it. And everyone gets to see the cool old iRacing kind of view tonight, as I get to go through trucks to find out who wrecked. But I'll try my hardest to not do that. But that's about really all I got. But yeah, the caution screen definitely does save me a little bit. And I also think that I might have had your audio muted for the last little part of the run. Not gonna lie. But a lot of trucks going in. So everyone can hear you now, Steve McMillan. Steve McMillan's in the booth with me. So hopefully everyone can hear him now. But yeah, a few trucks staying out. One of those trucks right there, Ryan M. Johnson in the 3 truck. Saw him make his way up there. We'll just keep doing this. Matthew Dula also in second. Lucas Lyons, one of our regulars here in the Bluegrass iRacing series. He is in third.
Short bus driver.
Yes, that is him.
I will never forget the short bus. Yeah. You say short bus, I know Lucas Lyons.
Yes, that is exactly who it is. And
you talk about Lucas. I mean, he's really a good, strong competitor here with Bluegrass. I mean, any series you see him in, he's competitive.
Yeah, of course. And, there's a lot of drivers in here. I mean, right behind him in the 04 truck is Kenneth McCullough. And we've seen him, go on a tear. I believe it's either in the truck or the Xfinity series. He's been very strong. Drew Prohl, he's had a pole or so this year in the truck series. Matthew T. Lee is in here, a former driver in the Bluegrass iRacing series. Cody Neagle's right now in ninth, who is, showed a lot of speed so far here early. Scott Fritz is in here. A lot of drivers that, we're very familiar with. There's also a lot of drivers that are newer in here, or maybe, like I said earlier, not ever put a lap in for the Bluegrass iRacing series that has joined us tonight. And again, all in hopes of winning that big purse.
Hey, money's money. But, talk about Drew Perot for a bit. Last year, he really, it was his rookie season, basically, last season. We saw him in the back in a lot of wrecks. Not everything was his fault. But you know what? Opening night in the Cup Series, he led laps.
Yeah, and, there's definitely a lot of drivers here tonight, too, that have definitely improved since last time we've seen them or had seen them last season. One of those guys who's in here tonight, Tony Iverson. I mean, Tony Iverson is having a great campaign right now in the Truck Series. After, definitely, increasing his racecraft over the off season, and that's what you got to do if you're any of these guys. And but nevertheless, Talladega is just a super fun track, and I think the one thing here is that anyone can really win this race. Based off of strategy, how well you enter and exit pit road. Where you're positioned at. Literally anyone can win this. It's all about being in the right position at the right time. And quite frankly, at these plate tracks, I would say the best place to be is in the lead. That's the only place where you where you can really miss wrecks is when you're in the lead. But you can get wrecked in the lead. Don't get me wrong. But it's definitely a lot easier to be up front. The only problem is though, for these guys is that whenever you're up front, you burn a lot more fuel than the guys behind you. So, the further back you are in the draft, the more you kind of let off the throttle and just kind of coast around. And it's a lot easier to be one of those guys. So, every time I come to a race or a plate track, I'm always really conflicted because I don't know whether I should go out front and lead laps or if I go back and save fuel. And for tonight, running 65% fuel, looks like we can go about 22 to 23 laps on fuel, somewhere around there. So if they all pitted on lap 36, they'd have to pit at lap 58, lap 80, and then you can make it all the way. So really, if you just pitted, you're about right on line to get to the end of the race on one less stop than the guys who didn't just pit, which I believe is like our top 9 or so who decided to stay out. So nevertheless, if this somehow ends up going green all the way, if you just pitted, you're in a really good spot. But if you are up front, you're really going to hope to get one more caution by the end of this race. And right now, you're just kind of playing it by the ear and seeing whether or not they're going to wreck. But based off the last restart, they were 3 wide before we even got to turn 1. So expecting to see that again here on this restart.
That's right. They're racked and stacked, and they're in turn 4 now, Mikey. They're going to get loose one more time. You thought that 3 wide was exciting.
Yeah, and you say we're going to go one more time. I think it's definitely going to be more than one. I think it's definitely going to be a lot more than one more time. But nevertheless, pace car's off. And looks like we're getting ready to go green here once again.
I believe the 3 of Ryan Johnson is the leader.
That'd be correct.
As we're coming to the restart zone here at Talladega.
Green flag,
And he fires off with a good start that Ryan Johnson gets. That 47, look at him. He's going to follow right in pursuit with him. Well, I take that back. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely interesting. But nevertheless, single file now. There comes that 03 again. I always talk about Kenneth McCullough. He always finds himself up front. Him and Christopher both. And I never know which one is who and who is who and all that. So both are, I believe, they're definitely part of the same family. I know that for sure. So they always find their way up front. But, so far, it looked like that restart definitely stacked some of the drivers up. As you can see, it's kind of split up a few drivers. We got a battle here for the lead side by side. And going to fall back off a little bit. But that 3 truck, Ryan M. Johnson, able to keep his way up front. But here comes Kenneth McCullough. He has a pretty good run. I can't quite see who is pushing Christopher.
The 99 is pushing him, so that is
Michael Walsh.
Yeah, and look, everybody right now going to the top side, kind of leaves the bottom a little open there. Kenneth coming out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. He'll go to the inside, kind of block that run there. Look at the 99. He gets a push from 92 down the back straightaway. And now you got another dog race going in turn number 3.
Yeah, and I know a lot of viewers at home are saying, why didn't Kenneth just stay up top? Big push right there through the center of the corner. Why didn't Kenneth just stay up top? The reason why is because, you kind of looked low. You cannot block a run going when a car's going 5 mile an hour faster than you off the corner. It's just going to create a wreck, and he did a very smart thing of pulling down to the bottom. And, yeah, looks like that 99 is going to get held up a little bit, going to go to the top, but nevertheless, the 92 going to the front.
I mean, Michael Lurch, he's dropped back. He's in 6. He's
way back there.
way back there now. I mean, unfortunately, without time in the scoring, it's, and I'm blind, old in blindness here. I can't really tell where it actually says because the letters are too small. But how about that 04 back to the race lead? But here comes Kenneth McCall there on the inside being pushed. So the 03 to 3, they're dancing partners right now.
Yeah, and Matthew T. Lee, running that middle line right there. And right behind them is Neagle again. Neagle's made his way back up to the front. Or Neagles, that is. Cody's been very quick, and he's been able to find himself back up to the front numerous times, and he's looking to do it again. And a third line starting to brew on that outside, led by Mike Davenport in the 55 truck. You can see them 3 wide, a little bit further on. That's about back for the 12th position. But, looks like 55 of Mike Davenport, if he gets some help, he might be able to make a move here to the front. And if you're on that if you're on that middle line, you're looking at that 55. You definitely want to jump those 3 cars ahead of you. So let's see if maybe anyone jumps in front of Mike here, if that outside line has enough momentum to maybe push towards the front.
Well, let's get up there slowly, a little bit by a little bit, inch by inch, lap by lap. But right now, Kenneth leading the way. Doing a pretty good job on the bottom line, but that 04 battling back. I mean, Mikey, we're fixing to have, talk about what? 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm about 10th spot on back. We're 3 wide.
Yeah, and they're really almost up into the wall. You saw one truck almost up into the wall back there for probably around the 15th to 20th position, but it looks like they're able to get it all worked out and keeping them straight. And another thing here is that at least in the trucks, there's a lot of air that gets dumped on the right side of the car and the spoiler, and the caution's actually going to come out. Looks like that wreck will be out of our render distance again. But air packs up so tight on that spoiler that it just causes the truck just to completely slow down. And it seems like, at least in these cars and like the Xfinity cars, that when air's dumped on the right side of the spoiler, it seems that it slows it down pretty dramatically, and that's what we see here happening. That once that middle lane kind of gets pushing, and they're able to really, bypass that bottom line pretty quickly. But then once that third line starts to generate, it does the same thing. It starts to dump air on that middle line, so then the third line comes more efficient. And that's why it's so hard to get the lead and really make your way through the field, because you never know what the cars around you are going to do. And the second you get a car on the outside of you, it really does slow your momentum.
Definitely. And, you hear Mikey say rendering. I mean, basically, since they had 60 drivers, technically, iRacing lets you render close to 43. Anything over 43, it starts rendering problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
I had this issue over at Auto Club earlier in the season where, there were 50 cars starting our truck series this. And, I couldn't get everyone in, but I tried my hardest. And
That's
it's
right.
kind of the same thing here tonight. If a driver kind of wrecks out of what I call my rendering distance, I really can't go back and see it because it's not going to show it on the iRacing replay for me, unfortunately. But nevertheless, I want the broadcast to be as good as it could be, even without our main overlays tonight, which are currently down at the moment, unfortunately. Really we can only work what we can work with. So we're going to make sure at least that we get our top 40 cars. I have it set to our top 40 cars, so you should be able to see all the action from our top 40 cars tonight.
I was listening to the race control. But you see them, I mean, drivers coming down pit road, making that pit stop. So probably their final stop of the night, and that's correct, Mikey?
So, you asked if this was the final pit stop?
Yeah.
No. It seems like these trucks...
Oh, it's 100 laps, isn't it?
100 laps. 100 laps, not 50. So it seems like these trucks are able to make around 21 to about 23 to 24 laps, anywhere in that range. Most drivers came in 22 to 23 and then 23 to 24. That's what it looked like most of the stops were on their first run. So, if they just pitted right now with a little bit under caution, I believe that they can make it to around like lap 67, which would put them about 89 for their next stop. So really, they're looking to make it maybe a 2-stop race after this. And when you go in the pits, again, you really only want to take 2 tires, fill up on fuel, and get back out on track.
Definitely. Honestly, I will tell you this. Anytime you do a broadcast when your overlays aren't working, it is a broadcaster's worst nightmare. Because you know what it all boils down to?
What?
The person did the broadcast, because they got to remember what they see and what they know.
Yeah. And,
there's no cheating.
I will say, I've broadcasted with Steve for, a few seasons now, and I love broadcasting, but the producing side of broadcasting is very much different than, just broadcasting, and it's definitely very complex. A lot of stuff that I don't know, but when I got on here and saw that my overlays would not be working tonight, it's not my problem, so don't blame me. It's not just me. But figuring that out, definitely sets in some panic, but Jason really does a great job of just get the show on. We'll be just fine without it. Do your best to put what you have on, and again, thank you, Jason, for giving us this opportunity. And we always love having Steve back in here. Brings back some good old memories.
Well, how about Daniel? Is it Muleneck? Muleneck there? Am I saying that right? I'm trying to read the name on here. He's your race leader in that 2 machine. Then you have the 17 of Jonathan Atkins. He will restart on the outside in a second. Then you have that 93 machine of Thomas Hall. And then to his outside, Tanner will be starting on the outside second row. So they're bunched up. They're racked and stacked. We're going to try it one more time when they come out of turn number 4. And, if you look at the race now, what's the finish of the race going to look like, Mikey? I mean, surely you saved your lunch money for something.
We definitely have not seen the big one yet, especially up front. Now, I can't really tell you what's happened out back because I've not been able to see it. But up front, it's looked pretty clean, even though they've been 3 wide. And like I said, it's definitely a little bit more manageable to be 3 wide whenever you are... I just had a yawn moment. I have to yawn. Okay, there we go. It's definitely a lot easier to go 3 wide here than it is at Daytona. But nevertheless, it's also really hard to hold 3 wide running the same line. So there's 100 laps, and we have about 55 to go. And I can tell you that even though we made it this far, we're never perfect as drivers. One little upset of the car, whether it's hitting a bump, whether it's just moving your steering wheel a little bit, maybe just try to get a little peek around the truck in front of you, it can easily cause a collision with another car. And really, anything can happen as we go up here. So we're going to go ahead and move up to our leader, who is Daniel Molnix. He brought up, showing the 2 truck tonight. He's loaded as the 00. But nevertheless, Daniel's going to go to the Geico restart zone here.
Green.
And the green flag's back out here at Talladega. Jonathan Atkins on that outside. Again, the front 2 with a pretty decent start. But we'll be able to see that second line get right back up to them by the time they get out of this corner. But it looks like Atkins is going to jump to that bottom line and cement himself in second place for the meantime.
Definitely, the outside line has to get wounded back up, try to get that momentum. But look, we're 3 wide out from turn number 2 down the back straightaway. And this is where you can start calling dangerous, Mikey, especially when they're doing it off the turns, forming that 3 wide.
Yeah, we see the 93 jump down to the bottom. That is Thomas Hall. He said, no way, Jose, I'm getting out of this. And this is where you can kind of see the drivers are antsy. They're moving lanes. You can kind of see they're bobbling everywhere. This is where accidents are going to happen, and we might see this big one very soon if these guys maybe don't let off. And they've done this, though, for the past few or so restarts. And Matthew T. Lee is going to be able to get out front. There's one of the 5 trucks. I'm not sure if that's Matthew Baker or Brandon Holder. I believe that's Matthew Baker who's able to cement himself right there in that 5th place position. But again, battling on the outside. Kenneth McCullough was out front, but he just got shuffled to the middle, maybe trying to throw a block. But here comes Nichols on the outside. We've seen Cody Nichols out front all day, and he's trying to make his way back up to the front. As we are 3 wide now for the 2nd place position, maybe looking the first here into turn 3.
Well, definitely, some good 3 wide action. Really when you start getting concerned is when you see the truck starting to snake. When you see that line starting to swerve for everybody trying to stay in right behind their partner, that's when the big one, 9 times out of 10, starts to happen.
Yeah, and
but they're
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go right ahead.
A great point of that. And as a driver, we call it kind of snaking, and it's when you see the back end of a truck, kind of moving side to side. You really don't get the justice of that on a broadcast. But whenever you're driving the car and you're trying to drive your line, every single truck that's in front of you always is moving side to side, some shape, somewhat, just because they're really trying to push the car ahead of them, or they're getting pushed around. It's usually one of those factors, or it's usually sometimes the driver's skill. But we won't talk about that. And And it just kind of creates an effect that's very weird whenever you're sitting in the driver's seat, because you never know when to push the truck in front of you because you feel like you're not going to hit them completely square. And if you hit them on the left side, you're going to dump them out to the right side, out to the outside wall. It's either that, or if you're in the corner, sometimes you'll see if you push too hard on that left rear, it'll just turn them right around in front of you.
Definitely. You know, earlier we mentioned about rendering. Well, it's not only us that has render problems. Think of the drivers out there on the racing surface right now.
Yeah, definitely. These drivers, I believe, the way it works on iRacing is that you can have it set to all drivers and you can see, but some usually, you know, you can only see about 20 cars. Oh, we got contact. That's Jonathan Atkins, who maybe took a slap. I believe that's from the 18 truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can only see a certain amount of cars behind you, but, you know, usually at a plate track, it's usually not too worrisome, because you don't really need to see everyone behind you.
Unless the big one happens in front of you.
Of course, yeah.
But normally, so like Mikey's right, you can choose all cars, but there's certain drivers that maybe choose 20 cars, so their graphics are a little bit better.
Yeah, and that is the 18 of Tanner Kasinger, by the way, who looked like made contact with Jonathan Atkins in that middle line. But go back to what you were saying, Steve.
So some drivers go, some people with iRacing, you know, iRacing is, the file's large, and so some drivers don't have the high quality PCs, so they'll change how many cars are displayed on the racing surface. And some choose 10, some choose 20. If you choose 20 and there's 43 cars, that means 23 cars you can't see. So if you're hanging out in the back, you better pray to God nothing's happening way out front.
Yeah. Really, now the good thing though is that for a driver is that whenever the caution comes out, you usually slow down right away, but also you see the smoke. That's one thing that does not go away, is that you could definitely see the smoke of drivers wrecking in front of you. So usually that's a good sign to, you know, maybe let off or not go full throttle. But definitely impressive that these guys are still 3 wide up front. You know, it's hard to go 3 wide with people that you know pretty well and know their driving styles, but it's definitely harder doing it with people that you don't know. You could see a lot of drivers making moves in and out of their lines, and this is where it really gets dicey. And about a lap ago, we saw Matthew Lee really throw a big block on that middle lane out of the corner and really check him up. And, you know, you have to anticipate that whenever you see drivers move in front of you. But when you're pushing a truck, you can't see anything out in front of them. You can see a little bit to the right side, a little bit to the left side of you, but you can't see anything in front of you.
Can you go on board with either the 92, the 5, or the 60?
Yeah, we'll go to the 92, and we can see the beautiful iRacing stuff here as we do it. But yeah, here's the 92 on board. This is John Ward. You can see really how tight it is, and you know, there's not much moving room between these guys right now, and they're really trying to dump as much air on their spoilers. And right there you see Niegels, Cody Niegels on the outside. I believe that's Kenneth McCullough right now, still up front, right ahead of them. They're 3 wide for the lead. Matthew T. Lee on that bottom. And this really kind of gives you the perspective of how tight it is. You can see Cody Niegels is really pinching those 2 bottom lines down. And, you know, on iRacing, you know, with 60 drivers, we also have to worry about netcode. And, you know, which netcode is a term for when iRacing picks up contact, but it actually does, like, you actually don't make contact in the sim. They'll sometimes just turn drivers around, and we see that with, you know, bigger split races. And so, you know, this early in the race, only lap 53 out of 100, you know, sometimes as a driver, you got to watch out and, you know, maybe say, okay, we should probably step back here, maybe not pinch as much. But that middle lane right now is really pushing. You can see how loose you really get off the corners. You can see that John's going to, I believe this is John Ward, yeah, he's going to let off a little bit there. But again, the second you let off, look at how much of a run that bottom line gets. And you also have to worry about overheating. As you can see, that middle lane's going to be able to get thrown a block here. And
now if you kind of look at it, like right there, you can see when he's back on Kenneth's rear tail tank, you can't see the cars in front.
No, absolutely not. And this is a pretty zoomed out view. Usually I zoom it out a little bit just so you can see all the action, but whenever you're actually sitting, they have it zoomed in a little bit more than this. So really, theoretically, like, he doesn't even see the 60 truck right now, and we can kind of see him to the outside. So, but right there, this is a great view. You don't even know there's a truck in front of Kenneth McCullough at the moment. And you can kind of see how he's moving around all over the place. maybe we can get on view with another driver a little bit further back here. We'll go with Mark Vondel here, and you can really see that, you know, once we get on the straightaway, you can't see anything. If contact happens on the straightaway, I mean, there's not really much you could do. And if you're in this position in the middle on the corner, there's still really not much you could do to avoid a wreck, because, you know, the entire track gets blocked. Everyone else has a little bit of a later reaction behind you, and yeah, it just kind of creates chaos. But you can kind of see drivers kind of getting to the bottom line right now, really just trying to stay nice, calm, cool, collective, as there's still a lot of goes. You see the 34 jump down to the middle lane, maybe trying to make a move off that outside, as there's going to be a new leader. Oh, this is not going to be good for that outside line. Watch out, and we are going to be on board with the wreck here.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Now that probably was a big one.
And yeah, we got one truck flipping, it looked like. Maybe the 93 truck. And a lot of carnage here on the backstretch, and that will bring out the caution. So we'll be right back, and we'll get this replay up for y'all. All right, so we're going to take a look at what happened here. See that 55 truck on the outside really get loose, maybe up into the wall, right there, up into the wall hard. And this was a pretty decent sized wreck, as you see the 59 in it, the 55. A lot of trucks hard into the inside wall. The 06, 93, you can see spinning out. We can maybe take one more look at that. And we'll do it from this right here, so maybe we can see that happen. Again, sorry that we don't have overlays, but right there, maybe it looks like the 55 of Mike Davenport tries to get outside the 60 of Joe Zallo, I believe. And they just make a little bit of contact right there. They were so ever close of making it in, but just not enough. And you see Mike Davenport up into the wall. And you can see kind of right here, chaos ensues. The 34 really nowhere to go. And it kind of just turns them all around. You see the 55. We were on board with the 59 truck during this crash. See him get flung up to the outside in front of the 6 truck. And then there was a lot going on the bottom, and I believe one of the cars was Alex Healy. And you can see right here, you know, a lot of trucks going to the inside. Big hits. You see the 61, I believe, the 51 coming in hot. The 42 was involved. A lot of drivers. The 40 truck was involved in that.